So on A, what were the two intervals that you put for x? Maddie?
I put x is greater than or equal to -6 and x is less than 3.
Do we agree? Is there a way that we can combine those and write those together as one? We can say and, okay, but correct me if I'm wrong. If I wrote -6 is less than or equal to x, is that true? Yeah. And then x is also less than 3. Is that true?
Oh, that makes sense.
So we could say -6 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 3. Okay? Next one. What did you have for the intervals, Levi?
X is greater than -5 and x is less than or equal to 4.
Good. So if I was to write that as one interval, what would it be?
So we could have the -5 in the same spot as the -6, and then we have the x, and then we have.
So -5 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 4. Right? Okay?
Should we be writing this?
Yeah, I would write these ones. So you know that there's two different ways to write them. You can write them that way too, yep. Good? Okay, and then for C, what did you have, Lincoln?
X is greater than or equal to -4 and x is less than or equal to 5.
Good. So if I rewrote this one, it would be x is, or -4 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 5. And the next one, Emma?
X is greater than -3 and
Good. So if I rewrote that one, it would be -3 is less than x, which is less than 6. Okay, and somebody already said it once. Do you use the and or to connect the inequalities up above? So if we are writing them like this, would I say and or in between them?
And because you can combine them and it makes sense.
And, right? So we would say and because
X is between both the numbers, so.
yes, x is between both the numbers, or it satisfies it simultaneously. Anybody know how to spell simultaneous?
S-I-M-U-L.
You're asking the wrong people for spelling, because if you're good at math, you're bad at spelling.
Simultaneous?
I think it's an
Yes?
Wait a minute, hold on, guys, we have Chromebooks, what are we doing?
Because it's simultaneously satisfies.
There's no internet. Google can't help
It
us
is.
now.
It is EOU.
EOUS. Okay. So it simultaneously
Words are hard.
satisfies both. So at the same time, x is greater than this number and it is less than that number. Questions about that?
No.
Okay. So then the next set.
It's not satisfied with the Y. It's an I.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that, but I also am bad at spelling, so I thought I might be wrong.
I'm not the best at spelling. A. What did you have for the two inequalities? Levi?
X is less than or equal to -6.
Okay.
X is greater than or equal to 3.
Good. Next one, Maddie?
Did he say and?
No, you just said.
Okay.
The other one.
Or.
X is less than -5 and X is greater than 4.
Greater than or equal to?
Yeah.
Emma, the next one?
X is less than -4 and X is
You should have equal to's on those, shouldn't you?
yes. Oh yeah.
And Lincoln, the next one?
X is less than -3 and X is greater than.
Okay. And then Kit, what were you correcting people on?
I said that it's or not and because x can't be like less than -3 and also more than 6 at the same time.
Good. So it's or because only one or the other can happen. Right? You can't be less than -5 and be greater than 2.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work. No. Okay, so number 3 was talking about how can you use inequalities to describe intervals on a real number line. I kind of want to say, instead of describe intervals, I want to say on a real number line, I just want to say how can we use inequalities to describe intervals. What would be a real world example where maybe this would be applied? So where you would have in between this numbers or one or the other. Okay?
So, like, you could have numbers on a team, right? You have to make a certain amount of cookies for them, but you're not sure how many kids are going to show up. So it's got to be less than the number of kids on the team, but of course it has to be more than, like, one person. Obviously, somebody's going to show up. So then, or like less, bigger than 0. You can't have negative people show up, so then you know how many cookies you got to make between, like, 0 and 32, but you don't know exactly how many.
So if you're kind of estimating about like maybe she said cookies like specifically, but like caterers, right? Because they have to plan for like weddings or other events that cater food. So they don't know exactly, okay, only 100 people are going to show up because some people don't RSVP, right? So you're going to kind of have a range of numbers. So you're going to have like maybe you plan for 100, but you cook for like 120 just so you have that extra interval where you might have some leftovers. Good.
If you're buying something online, like you pay a certain amount minimum and get free shipping.
Oh, yeah.
Free shipping. So you got to pay a minimum of this, but you only have this much to spend.
Yeah.
So
Good.
in between those.
Yeah, so if you want to get free shipping, you at least have to pay this, but I only have this much for a budget, so I have to pay in between the free shipping and my budget. Good. Any others? One that was talked about, like, specifically that you guys might see is, like, your map scores. So there's, like, different colors on your map scores, right? So does anybody know what those map scores, what the colors are?
It's just like the percentile you are, right?
It's the percentiles, right? So, like, they have anywhere from, like, 1 to 20 is in this color, and anywhere from 21 to, I believe it's 40 next, is the next percentile, right? So there's a range which you would fall in. So if you scored above a certain point, you fall in this percentile. If you score below a certain point, you fall in that percentile. So that would be maybe where you guys see it in your everyday life now. Yeah, and you buy stuff online. Okay, what about the ones where it's like one or the other? Where would you see an interval like we saw right here? So we talked about and ones, right? Because it had to be greater than this and less than this. That's what the examples we've talked about thus far. But when are you going to get an example where it's either less than this or it's greater than this number?
There's just a bad number. You don't want that number. You want it more than that, less than that. You don't want that number.
Maybe, but specifically. I just didn't come up with a really good example. I didn't think of this one. I was struggling with this one. They said like your schedule. So like if you apply it to me, if I was setting up maybe meetings with somebody, I would say I can meet before 8 a.m., but I can't meet until after 5:30 p.m. because I have practice, right? So if you're talking about schedules, there's a time I can meet before school or I can meet after practice, but I can't meet with anybody from 8 to 5:30 because I'm at my job. Anybody think of another example?
Not sure if it works, but
Okay.
I have an idea. So, like, let's say that you and your friend are working on a project together, but you know you might have practice after school, but your coach wasn't completely sure because like another team has something, so you're not sure if you have practice or not. So you're going to be like, well, I could work on the project then, but if I have practice, then I can't. So maybe then this time.
Yeah. So it works a lot for scheduling. I couldn't think of any other examples that would maybe be real life applicable. Like negative numbers, I couldn't think of one with a negative number.
Yeah. You can't have like negative people or negative cookies.
Right.
Well, but
Cookies is my only example.
I guess if you're building something, maybe it has to be like, if you don't want it to freeze or something, it has to be so far below ground if you're going to put it in ground. Otherwise, you have to put it above ground certain
So
numbers.
it has to be like less than like 3 feet under or like 6 feet above ground.
Right, yeah, that way, like, if you're doing constructions, maybe wiring and stuff like that has to be a certain level or above level.
Classifications for things, but I doubt there's like any room between.
Yeah.
Like under this and to be categorized as this, and over this to be categorized as this.
Right, that wouldn't overlap each other. Yep. Okay, questions on that?